This March journal theme is for all the Romantasy lovers. It's bold and a little bit daring, striking but still romantic, functional but also elegant, and full of themes like swords and crowns and roses. Hi, I'm Erin, and I'm a big Romantasy lover myself, so putting this theme together was so much fun. I have to give a big shout out to my channel members in my stationery guild who helped me choose this theme. Big thanks also to Tiefossi for providing the notebook that I'm using for the mystery journal and for sponsoring this video. Tiefossi make gorgeous notebooks packed with premium features at super reasonable prices. Everything I look for in my creative planners is there. They're sturdily built with ribbon bookmarks and back pockets and pen loops, and some of them have pretty page edges too. They're available in a range of sizes from A5 to B5 to square to A6, plus they have bleed and ghost resistant 160 GSM dot grid paper, although some of their styles also come in line paper if that's more your thing. Based out of China, Tiefossi have warehouses in both the US and Europe to make sure international orders can ship quickly. They also offer free shipping to 34 countries and regions on orders over $39 US. I know their Sakura and Cat Square journal was super popular when it was released late last year, and I'm sure you can see why. This is the pink version in the square, isn't it adorable? But in case you haven't heard the news, Tifossi's Sakura and Cat journal is now available in A5. A5 is such a classic size for all kinds of planning or collecting or memory keeping, which is why I keep making my mystery journals A5, so it's really exciting to see this range expanded. And here's a little bonus just for you. For a limited time, Tiefossi are offering free personalization on Sakura and Cat journals just for viewers of my channel. When you place your order, in the order note section, add the secret password Erin paw print along with the text you'd like embossed, up to 15 characters including spaces. Since the front of these notebooks have this lovely full cover design, the best spot for the embossing is the center back cover. You can also still use my discount code ErinSmith for 10% off your order as always, whether you're purchasing a Sakura and Cat notebook or not. But the notebook I'm using today is their foliage notebook in A5, so let's get back to that. Huge thanks to Tiefossi for their ongoing support of my channel and of creative journalers everywhere. Let's get started on our March cover page, and I actually made some stickers for this theme using the Precut foil tool and some transfer foil, so I'm going to be using those for all of my headers and things. This black wide washi tape I got from JOURNALSAY, along with a few of the other elements here actually, the rose gold rose stickers and also the pre-cut PET tape I'm going to be using quite a bit here are also from JOURNALSAY. Unfortunately, that pre-cut PET tape has vanished and I can't find it anywhere else online, which is really disappointing because it's kind of the hero of this theme. But everything else that I've used that I can still link you to, I will have links in the description for in case you want to also get your hands on them for yourself. Since this theme is very much inspired by books, I thought it would be cool to do sort of a book cover style decorative thing for the cover spread. So on the left page is going to be essentially the front cover, that's going to be our March cover page. And the right side is essentially the book back cover, but instead of a blurb, I'm going to have a quote. I've used the black wide washi tape as essentially an anchor, and I'm going to have everything else somewhat stick to or orbit around these. Before we get too much further, I thought I'd explain to you the concept of the mystery journal in case you haven't come across my mystery journal videos before. This is a notebook that I fully set up for the first 6 months of the year, all the way back in October and November and December. I gave it away on my channel, and right now it's with its winner, able to be used for this first half of the year. Obviously, I recorded the process of setting the journal up back when I was doing that, and I've kind of just been sitting on the footage until it becomes relevant, so this journal is no longer in my possession and hasn't been for some time. For the last couple of mystery journals, I've made sure that every month had a coherent theme that went all the way through the notebook, and this one's theme is floral, so this is a bit of a different take. The other setups so far have been very pastel or bright and colourful, definitely things that you associate with floral, but this one is floral in a darker, more mysterious way. All of the text for my stickers is using a font called Cinzel Decorative. It is my favourite kind of fantasy novel font. You can just throw in a capital any way you want a bit of embellishment within a word, like the R in March, and it will make this pretty little swoop underneath the C. It's a great font. And this other PET tape here is from the Quirky Cup Collective. This one is their Serpents and Swords pre-cut PET tape, and it is fantastic for the Romantasy girlies. It's also a really, really long tape with a pretty long loop, so you'll be using this one forever. The washi tape with the red flowers that I've got at the top and bottom of the spread now is from Paper Monogatari. You can't get anything from Paper Monogatari right now. They're closed while Anna is on maternity leave, which is so exciting. And I'm just building up more layers and more elements to this spread until I feel like there is enough without going too overboard. I wanted more gold though, definitely, so I'm jumping in with the gold washi tape from MT. These metallic tapes from MT are amazing, they're so much fun. I picked this one up at Bookbinders Design in Melbourne when I was there back in October. This is what it looks like without the glare of my filming lights. Let's turn the page and move on to the calendar spread. I always enjoy a calendar spread with a grid layout that has a dedicated row just for where the number goes, because that gives you a chance to add some extra decoration in the form of a bit of colour on that dedicated number space, and it also means you have the entire planning space for your notes about what you need to do each day, rather than eating into it with those tiny numbers. I really wanted the calendar to stand out and be quite bold, so I'm using the 08 Pigma Micron, which is one of the thicker lines of fine liner, and a ruler to make sure everything is nice and precise. I did make my line a bit too long at the top here though, so I'm using a white paint marker to cover that up, and then we're going to colour in all of these spaces where the number for each day will go. So the boxes for planning are 4 dot grid spaces tall by 4 dot grid spaces wide, and I've just added 1 extra dot grid space on top of each of those for these numbers. This pen is the Tombow 847, in case you were wondering. It's a lovely deep rich red, and I really love the Tombow dual brush pens for my journal because the size of the brush makes filling in a single dot grid space like this so easy and swift. They're pretty expensive though, but it's okay, I've built up my collection very slowly over many years. Since March starts on a Sunday, and I also like my calendars to start on a Monday, I have this awkward little extra day at the top and bottom of my calendar here, so I'm going to use those to dictate where my decoration goes. If you're ever not sure in a bullet journal or creative planning kind of layout where to put your decoration, I really suggest you put your functional parts down first and just see what's left, and work with decorating within the space that's left available to you. Decorating my journal is really important to me. It's what keeps me coming back to creative planning over and over, but at the same time, I still think the function of the page is the most important part. Speaking of which, I have made a mistake while setting this one up. I don't have quite enough days on my calendar. I'm supposed to have one more down the bottom there. I will realize that soon and fix it, but for now, let's just pretend. We'll come back to that in a moment. I actually made these stickers with my Cricut on some sticker paper at the same time as I made the stickers for the very first setup in this journal, which was for the first 6 months of the year. So if you feel like you've seen them before, you probably saw a little preview in that video because they were all on a single piece of paper because I didn't want to waste any. I get my white sticker paper from Stash World, which is a stationery store here in Brisbane, Australia, where I live. But you can also get it online from Stash World if you're also within Australia, or you can use any kind of white sticker paper that you can find. Label paper apparently works really well for a lot of people. I've never tried it, but your mileage may vary. And of course I've used the Cricut Transfer foil and the Cricut Transfer tool to make this happen. I found foiling and then cutting stickers out of them pretty easy and straightforward, but once I tried to add a print then cut element as well as foil, things got really complicated and out of alignment, and I wasted a whole day trying to make things work. You can see that on my vlog from November if you'd like to. This spread is feeling pretty good, so with this last sticker placed, we can turn the page and move on to our next spread. This one is quite an introspective spread. We have space here for setting goals for the month, we have space for a reflection, and the entire right page is going to be about keeping a gratitude log. So goals for looking forward, reflection for looking back, and a gratitude log to keep you in the moment too. I have 3 main decoration layouts that I come back to over and over, and I'm using one of them here. This one I call my columns layout, and I have a video about those in case you'd like to check it out. This one, the columns layout, involves decorating the outside edge of both pages of a spread, which leaves the inside open and flexible and ready for whatever you'd like to use it for. I'll be using the same supplies as I've used on the previous 2 spreads all the way through because that's going to make the theme feel really cohesive and harmonious. Who doesn't love a second line highlight? If you've never tried this in your journal, I really recommend that you give it a go because it's such a good way to make it obvious where your planning is supposed to happen on the page without necessarily having to draw a box around it, and it also gives you the opportunity to get some more colour and texture onto your page too if you want. Clearly I haven't gone with anything too colourful here. This is the N89 Tombow that I used for mine, but if you are doing a slightly less bold and impactful theme than me, like I wouldn't really want to put red there because that has a bit too much visual weight, it would be a bit overpowering. But if you were doing something a bit more pastel, then you could use pastel colours that match your theme and have everything look really nice and soft still. This is the point at which I realised my calendar was incorrect back here, so I'm turning back to the calendar spread briefly. I'm going to take up some of my decoration in this bottom corner so I can add one more little space here for the last day of March. Unfortunately, I didn't have room for you before poor little 31st. I did have to cut down this sticker a little bit to make it fit, but I think it's okay. I'm just going to add the excess across the middle so this sort of looks like one long sticker now rather than two smaller ones that I've chopped up. Back to our next spread, the goals and reflection sections obviously are just for a bit of text in whatever way. They could be a list or they could be a block of text. So with the gratitude log, it's going to be a little bit different. I need to make sure that there is a space for every one of the days of the month here so that the winner of the journal can write just a line about every day. I am really enjoying layering these gold rose stickers with my headers, so I'm going to do that at the top here again. I just really like the way that looks. This one didn't quite have enough room for the whole sticker, so I've just cut off the excess, added my gratitude sticker over the top, and I think it looks so good. Let's just add one more flower down the bottom. I'm going to trim off a bit of excess on this one as well, and then we're all finished with the goals, reflection, and gratitude spread. And let's move on to the next. This one's going to be a bit more utilitarian than the previous one, and it's also going to have a little bit less scope for decoration because I need a little bit more of the page for the planning. On the left side here, I'm going to add 6 tiny calendars. These are for tracking habits, and I'm moving my heading to the bottom of the spread this time instead of the top, just because I feel like we've got a little bit more room there, and also just for something a little bit different, some variation that still feels like part of the theme. Writing all of the numbers for 6 tiny calendars back to back can be a bit of a feat for your hand, so if you're setting up a similar spread to this one, I recommend doing some little hand stretches in between. It'll help. The way this page works as a habit tracker is that I'm going to add a line just above the red line for each of these little calendars. That's going to be where the winner of the journal can write down whichever habit it is that they're wanting to track. They can then circle or colour in or cross out or whatever they like to indicate that they have done the habit on a certain day. And habit trackers don't only have to be for things that you do every day. Sometimes there might be a habit that you need to do every second day or every few days or once a week. You can still use these to track that kind of thing. Just don't beat yourself up for not having every day coloured in if that's not the kind of habit that you're tracking. And on the right page, we have a spending log. This is one of my favourite pages to use. I have a whole journal for tracking my finances. In the mystery journal, I'm incorporating it into the book because it's actually just easier for me to have a separate journal to keep my finances private, honestly. So this looks like one big table, but it's actually two tables right next to each other. So there's the wide column, which is for items. That's where you just write down the thing that you bought. Next to that is category, where you give it a category assigning to how you spend your money. That relates back to a big overall cash flow tracker at the start of the journal. And the last one is for cost, so how much the thing that you bought actually cost you to buy. Then underneath the table, there is a section there that's kind of empty. I would use that at the end of the month to add up the totals for each of your categories. So over the course of the month, I made 5 transactions in the category of car, and this is how much they cost in total. That also relates back to the cash flow tracker at the beginning of the journal, so you can move those totals over, compare them to your budget, see if you're staying on track, seeing if there's any extra money you can put into your savings because you came in under budget maybe. It's a little bit of a scary page because tracking your finances can be a bit intimidating, but once you have your head around where your money's going, I swear it's so liberating and you can make better decisions overall, typically. That is our habit tracker and spending log complete, so we're going to turn the page and set up one that is much more loose and flexible. Something that I really enjoyed over the past couple of years is adding memory keeping pages into my journal. I'll just add little junk pieces from my days and my weeks and my months. Kind of a little scrapbook spread of tickets and wristbands and stamps, sometimes stickers and paper from packaging and photos that I've taken or photos that I found in magazines or brochures. And sometimes I'll write down what I did that month too and kind of keep track of the memories in text. I wanted to really encourage the winner of this journal to do the same, so I'm adding a memory spread here, a dedicated one, so that they have a place to add all of their memories from the month of March 2026. But because it's part of the themed pages, I still wanted it to feel like part of the themed pages, so we're adding some decoration quite lightly at the top and bottom, and then leaving the rest of the spread blank for the winner of the journal to use however they will. Let's just take a moment for that reflective shine. It's very nice. And then we'll turn the page and move on to another very open and loose one. This one actually doesn't even have a purpose. That's how open and loose it is, because I know this journal isn't for me, and I don't claim to know the needs of a person I haven't met, who I don't know who they are at the time I'm setting up the journal. So this one is literally just a spare spread. I love the challenge of making the mystery journal somewhat universally usable, but at the same time, everybody's going to have very different needs. So this way, I can include a spread that is decorated and ready to go, but still leaves lots of room for adding a purpose. And if there's anything I haven't thought to include, or there's something specific that the winner of the journal would like to be tracking or writing about or logging in some way, they have this spread to do that. And if they don't have something extra to add, I have sent extra bits of all of the stationery that I've used to set up all of the themes in the journal along with it. So they have some extra things to play around with. They can make this just a little decorative spread. They can add another quote that speaks to them. They can use it for overflow from that previous memory keeping page if they'd like to. The possibilities are really endless. So even if they don't have a purpose for it, this one doesn't have to stay blank or vaguely lightly decorated. It can be used for something else entirely. There's our spare spread all finished. I love how this one turned out. It's so sparkly. We can turn the page now and move into our weekly spreads. These ones are really important for me personally because they're where I spend most of my own time in my journal, so I like to try to make sure I'm putting a lot of time and effort into these pages for the mystery journal as well, wherever it ends up. If you've ever had a pre-printed journal or planner with a week to a page in the planning section, then you already really know what a weekly spread is. It's just a way to have the whole week at a glance on a page. You can add to-do lists, you can add events, you can add whatever you like in each of those individual daily spaces, appointments and reminders. And because you have the flexibility of creative planning, you can also set up each weekly a little bit differently if you'd like to. And I really enjoy doing that for myself. And I also enjoy doing it for the mystery journal so that the winner of the journal, if they're new to creative planning, has kind of a taster pack of weekly spreads so they can find out what sort of styles work best for them. This one is pretty basic. We've just divided each page into quarters, so we end up with 8 spaces. Obviously that's one more than the number of days in a week, so we will use one of them just for extra notes. It can be little reminders, things about next week, anything you like can go in the notes section. I quite often use mine for taking notes if I'm on a phone call. However, when I made the stickers for this setup, I did not make myself any note stickers to go on the weeklies, which was a massive oversight because I just about always include at least 1 or 2 note sections in my weeklies, so I will have to improvise when we get to that part, but you'll see how we go. I love these little functional stickers I've made for myself where they're just the gold foil on the paper, and I did the whole month. I made sure I had enough to cover the whole month, but obviously not having made the notes ones, I'm going to have to get a little bit creative. I still have a bit of the foil left over, so I thought I'd run an experiment, and I'm going to take you along with me on this experiment. The way the Cricut transfer foil works is it uses a pointy kind of blunt tool to press the foil from this sheet onto the page on the back. So it's not sticky or anything and it doesn't need any heat, it just kind of transfers with pressure. So I figured, and I tested it out on some sticker paper first, that I could just use a ballpoint pen. This one is the gel pen from Muji, to just go over the foil directly onto my page and transfer it onto there. And do you know what? It worked. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever done, and it obviously looks quite different to the white sticker paper that's on the rest, but it did the job, and that's what counts. Let's move on to my next weekly spread. On the last weekly spread, we divided the page into 4 sections in this kind of SWOT analysis style. So we had 2 spaces for planning on the top section and 2 on the bottom section. This time we're actually dividing the page into 4 again. We're just making sure that they're all columns. So we're going to have 4 columns on the left page and 4 columns on the right page, all stacked right next to each other. The function of the weekly is going to be very similar. It's just a much narrower planning space than on the previous one, and I love a list, so I think this is a particularly good layout for people who like to make long lists. I've gone with the second line highlight to add all of my planning space here just because I like how soft that looks, but you could put these in boxes if you prefer. That would absolutely work just the same way. And since all of my planning is happening in the center of the spread, I've added my decoration at the top and bottom. This is another of my 3 go-to layouts that are in my video showing you some little hacks, and this one I like to call my letterbox layout. This time, instead of trying to letter directly onto the page with my gold foil, I'm going to cut a similar sized sticker out of my leftover sticker paper here and add my gold foil onto that instead. Then I'm just going to stick it in place and hopefully things will look a little bit more cohesive than they did previously. I was worried it would slip around under the foil though and I wouldn't know where it was, so I've popped it into position and added my notes heading over the top. A few places didn't transfer so well and I tried to fill them in with the gel pen and it looks a bit weird, but it's too late to change it now. This weekly is all set up and we can move on to our next one. The last 2 weeklies were both somewhat vertically oriented, so let's make this one horizontal instead. If you prefer a symmetrical weekly layout, this one may not be for you. I find that the way this one works best is to make things slightly asymmetrical, and also the size of the planning spaces on the right will be a little bit smaller than the planning spaces on the left. I always find that I'm really gung-ho at the beginning of the week and I'm getting lots of things done, and it tapers off as I get tired towards the weekend. So I like to make the spaces a little bit narrower on the right page and a little bit wider on the left. Since I've been so enjoying pairing these gold roses with my DIY header stickers, I thought I would do that again here. So I've added a rose in each of the planning spaces, kind of alternating sides, and I'm adding my little header for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday right over the top of those. What a quick and easy weekly to set up. I really recommend this one if you don't have a lot of time on your hands. It's very speedy. We only have one weekly spread left to set up, and then this March theme is entirely finished. This time I thought I might show you what it looks like if you do that first layout again, where we divide each page into 4 quadrants. But this time, instead of just having a floating heading space, I'm going to put them in boxes. Also, instead of having a note section, this time I'm going to use one of those spaces just for some decoration. Some of the stickers I'm using are actually quite large, so it can be difficult to find a way to work them in, but if you don't find that you need a note section, using that area for some pretty stuff can be a really good solution to getting some more of your stickers on the page. Whenever I have a layout with lots of boxes like this, I love to scatter some tiny stickers in the corners of them just to pull everything together. It's such a great way to get some more visual interest on the page without taking up your planning space and keeping the theme going as well. And I think this one came together really well. And now we can have a flip through of everything from start to finish because we have finished this March setup in the mystery journal. I'd love to know if there are any specific books it reminds you of, or TV shows or movies if you're not into books. It reminds me of a book called A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer, which is the 3rd book in the Cursebreaker series, but that's probably just because I used the PET tape that I can't link you to, sadly, anymore on my review page for that in my reading journal, so that's probably got a lot to do with it. I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different take on a floral theme for my floral mystery journal. I definitely had a great time putting this one together, and I love how it looks. If you were to do anything similar for March or any other month in your own journal, I would love to see. You can find me on Instagram at erinsmith.art and tag me in your post or send me your pictures if you like. And if you're looking for some inspiration for the upcoming month and this isn't quite your cup of tea, not to worry, I have many a March setup from previous years on my channel, so here is a link to one of those, and underneath that is a link to a playlist of all of the mystery journal videos so far this year.